and welcome back to the Unshakable Soul podcast. My name is Sophia with Masikat. I am your host here, and I have the privilege to have a guest today. Her name is Omaya. She's a naturopathic doctor, Reiki Master Teacher, and a lot of other things. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. My name is Omayma Bouziane. I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor, Reiki Master Teacher, among other things. Um, my, I would say I'm mostly passionate about helping individuals restore balance, vitality, and wellness through an integrative body, mind, spirit approach to healthcare. I see myself as a guide that helps people back into their own body and their own awareness of the wisdom of their bodies.
Yeah, beautiful. And I have such I feel so privileged to be able to talk to people like you and have various stories being woven together um, of your own journeys to where you are right now. And it's
Mhm.
all kind of beautiful and offering different perspectives on, I think, the healthcare system and where we're going towards, which is mm, I have a feeling it's more of an empowered healthcare system, one where the self-agency is really brought upon the individual, and that the support system's really there to help the individual thrive and live a beautiful, sustainable life.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your journey. What brought you into this path of being a naturopathic doctor and Reiki master?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you as well for opening the platform for people like me to speak about what they do and also like to weave, between different practitioners and different facets of the wellness and health um, uh, areas.
Mhm.
Um, my path or journey into this has started a long time ago. And I would say it will sound, I think, not that uncommon, but it started with my own health issues. I call myself an endo warrior. I have endometriosis, and having a condition like this brings with it a lot of health challenges. It impacts, with chronic pain, increased stress, anxiety, not knowing what's happening with one's body, and obviously with the delayed diagnosis, like I've had pain most of my life, but I haven't had a proper diagnosis until I was 30 years old. So that takes a long time and a long toll on one's emotional and physical well-being. But luckily, when I turned toward spiritual healing, naturopathic medicine, back in 2010, 2011, that's when my journey started toward healing, toward understanding what is my body trying to tell me. It's not so much about, yes, I'm experiencing symptom, and yes, it's a big burden, but what is this trying to teach me? Is it trying to teach me to slow down, to truly listen to the symptoms I'm having? I can't be go, 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 go all the time. Maybe I have to slow down around my period. Maybe I have to take better care of my food. Or maybe I need something that my body is not getting from food. So all of that led me to be more interested into helping myself. And then when I started to see the difference between, the me that was crawling out of bed 1 week out of the month to the person who barely, has any pain 1 day out of the month. So it's like, ding, ding, ding. Can I do something with that knowledge? And I feel like what called most to me is that the connection, the spiritual connection I've built with my own body, my own journey, but also with Mother Earth. I'm like, I need to channel this for other people to feel their best self as well. Um, so that curiosity toward my body, my mind, my emotions, my lifestyle, the connection I have as part of Mother Nature as a human being, um, it required me to put different facet into understanding myself, but also helping others understand their own path, their own bodies, their own journeys. Um, I do believe that my spiritual awakening had a lot to do with it because it started a little bit before I did my first Reiki training. And that's when like I started to have a deeper appreciation for the power of presence. Despite all the noise in our lives and everything that's going on, the presence, the intention, the compassion, and the connection you can have with the source, that's undeniably like the best step I took into my own healing and spirituality. Um, Fast forward many, many years after I became a Reiki Master Teacher and I'm teaching people Reiki, Usui, but also I add a lot of component of myself, a lot of things I've learned throughout my journey. And I think like the beautiful combo I have of the evidence informed um, and the traditional teachings and also the spiritual and energetic component, like that's what makes me me, but it all stems from where I have been and where I am today.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Thank you. There's so much you shared there that we can
Sorry.
take the string and pull it to see what's there.
I
But
can speak about this the whole day.
yeah, no, and it's beautiful. And that's why I love having this podcast is to give voice to our stories that house so much wisdom. So I guess the place I'd love to dive into is this reconnection to your body. And I heard maybe beneath your words this deeper ask that your body was communicating with you. Like, hello, this is the information I want you to grasp, and please give me dot dot dot, right? Warmth, kindness in the form of rest, hug, nature, food, like this beautiful relationship we get to create with our bodies. Was that a repercussion of a relationship that was distorted with your body? Was it from stemming from a place that felt that you couldn't rest, that you couldn't slow down, that you didn't feel safe to do so or to even be in your body? If you want to dive into that.
I would say I would say all of it, but also it stems from um I think like I grew up in a big disconnect. So I come from a country where, natural healings, herbs, spices is part of the culture. But also, if you're sick, your first thought is get medication. So there was a lot of like many, many years when I wasn't sick, and instead of trying to figure out what was going on with me, I was taking medication over and over, and that wasn't necessarily helping. Yes, it was reducing symptoms, but it wasn't helping me understand my body and know where it is coming from and how can I support it. Because for me, in my head, that can't go on my whole life. I was a teenager when it started. So it fast forward, I understood that most of like when I was sick was related to my emotions and how I process them, or
Mm.
for a better word, how I do not process them and hold them in my body. But I do think that I the day I understood that symptoms or disease is information that our body is trying to communicate to us, tell us, hey, you know what? I'm giving you all the information you need to help me heal. Our bodies are beautifully designed to do what they have to do to heal. You just have to give them the right input.
Mhm.
And when your input is high stress, not so clean food, um, I don't know what else, like, having a lot of toxic burden or living a life that you don't align with. That was a big like aha moment for me when I like discovered that some of my symptoms were related with the fact that I was living a life I didn't like. So it's to find really connect the dots and reconnect with ourselves inside our bodies, not just, expanding and going up and searching for things.
Mm.
Everything is within us.
Mm.
Everything that we need to know, you just have to sit with yourself, cultivate that awareness, cultivate that will to grow, cultivate the will to live in this life, in this body, and make the most out of it.
Okay, I'm gonna pause there because there's that could be the clip in itself. We're done. We're done. Be- Because I think this is what a lot of people know. I'm pointing to the mind here for the listeners. We now, for the most part, know this. The answers are within. Like for some, it sounds like a broken record. But if we actually sit with it and feel that, that's a much different experience. What I've realized, and maybe you want to extrapolate on this too for your experience, is there is deep discomfort in allowing myself to sit with the feeling of truth. Holy fuck.
Absolutely.
I've been living a lie. I've been holding on to this relationship for way too long. And this identity, this role, because I feel so safe in it. It's the known, blah, blah, blah. To face yourself in the mirror and realize, holy fuck, you're shrinking yourself so much.
Yeah.
That is not comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
inevitably, it's I see it as necessary, right? Just necessary so that this, if we're speaking of energy and you were speaking of emotions and all of these disease and symptoms physically that we can see and that Western medicine identifies as actually starting from a place that's not seen, that's very subtle, that's very subconscious. This really begins the process of going inwards, of being like, okay, well, what can I unravel here? What energy can I liberate? Emotion, energy and motion wants to circulate
Yeah.
so that I can actually have the clarity and the freedom of conscious choice.
Yeah. I always say emotion needs motion.
Mm.
It's not made to sit there. It needs to move and it needs to be released and it needs to, you understand it, but you don't hold onto it. Anger is not bad. It's information, it's input. It tells us what is going on inside of us. Why are we angry? What is going on? Are we frustrated with something specific? Is it because someone hurt us before in the same way? Or is it because we're, so appalled by the state of the world? So you
Mm.
have to understand where is it coming from and then release it. It doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to stay in your body. Release it with whatever means you have near you or close to or accessible to you. um, But yeah, to go back to that, I think there's deep discomfort with sitting with oneself because sometimes the answers we get are not what we expect. We expect that everything's gonna be, roses and everything's gonna be happy, happy, and everything's up, up, up. No, it's not. It's when you sit with your shadows and you face what's really going on inside of you and take responsibility for your part in it. That's when you can unravel the true path to that innate wisdom. That innate wisdom doesn't come from always happy and always smiling. It comes from
Mm,
sitting with yourself, the most uncomfortable part, and learning that it is okay. It's also part of you, and they also deserve a love.
mm,
They deserve that you sit with them in order to understand yourself. There's nothing wrong with your shadow parts.
yeah. And I'll add here, looking at that spectrum of pain and pleasure, it also requires you to sit or be and own your pleasure, your radiance, your ecstasy, right? And I've noticed that in a lot of women, this inability to experience pleasure. And I'm not only meaning in the bedroom. Let's remember that your sensuality is essentially your aliveness, your energy, your ability to be fully embodied and alive and awaken in your senses.
Mhm.
And sexuality is just one branch of that. But to actually allow yourself to experience that joy, whether you're resting in nature, you're leaning back, you're eating good food, you're in good company, you're having great sex, maybe it's part of it. You're dancing just in the way you want to dance. Like that too is part of your experience. And are you allowing yourself to experience that? So it depends on the person. For me, I was very much like in my shadows. And life has brought me to, hello, like there's a lot of pleasure that you can experience, right? It's not only about the shadow work,
Mhm.
but for others, they're seeking that high and to always be in that, maybe that social energy output, being with people and da 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 and then not actually realizing and thinking that maybe, oh, I can't be sad, there's, turn that frown upside down, all these fucking bullshit things we're fed, right? So
Mhm.
just become curious, I guess, to where you're at. And it's not one bad and one's better than the other. It's our ability to hold that spectrum, right? Without shame and guilt.
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. Like I feel the best way of being your most authentic self is to be in that spectrum.
mm,
Like
mm,
there's no way around it. You can't be all love and light and still acknowledge your fears and acknowledge your anger and
mhm,
acknowledge your deepest traumas. And you cannot be living like all the time in your traumas and trying to heal that without experiencing pleasure. Like you have to be on both sides of the spectrum to be alive and to feel the full range of emotions and the full range of feelings and experiences we can experience as human beings. That's the beauty of it.
yeah, yeah, it is. So let's bring it to you and the work you do now in the world. What are the type of people that you're seeing come to you specifically? Do you see a pattern in their symptoms?
I do. I do. I do receive a lot of patients for general health. But underneath it all, I do find that most of them either have things like chronic stress, burnout, a complete disconnect with their own bodies. I do also work a lot with patients with chronic pain, chronic conditions, endometriosis, mental health, specifically ADHD, anxiety, and depression. I do also do autism, but only for like grown-ups. I love children. I love reconnecting with my inner child. I just don't like I feel I work better with adults and old teenagers. um I do feel on the women's side, most of the time, the women that come through my door, they're searching for reconnection, but also for safety in their own body. It's not, I take it very seriously that they trust me to take that role to walk alongside them. Um, I always say, like, I'm not a healer, I facilitate healing, which are two different ways of seeing it. Like, I do not create healings. I guide, I facilitate, I offer my knowledge, my support, my compassion, and I honor their unique journey. And I often find when I do that, underneath all those layers, unfortunately, a lot of women have at some point in their life experienced sexual assault or rape or instances where their bodies sacred I can't pronounce that word, but sacredness was attacked. Their own, consent was not respected, and that is a very hard thing to go through. And also, it's like I can feel them, I can see them when I connect with them the first time. But it's funny when they start connecting the dots themselves. When a person, let's say you see them a couple of sessions and then, hey, you know what? Now that you are able to receive acupuncture multiple times, look at how, for example, your period pain is going down, but you're also starting to honor yourself through your cycle. Or let's say you're feeling more at ease in your own body, you're not feeling a lot of tension anymore on your shoulders and your neck. Even without any manual work, some patients will experience that because you're releasing at the base of it the tension that is creating the tension. So
Yes. The
when
block
you're
beneath the block.
releasing
Yes.
when you're releasing that, the output is the body recalibrate, the body's innate wisdom kicks in, and it starts taking on the active role of healing again.
Mm. This is so good. This is so good. Let's pause there and just absorb that um the the truth that there is a deep wisdom within you. And if we allow it to do its thing in the right environments and with the right input, as you mentioned, then we can become healing forces ourselves.
Exactly.
We can become the love that we wish to embody, that we wish to give and receive. But this cannot happen if there is so much unprocessed shit, both that's
Mm-hmm.
our own that we create, which we're really good at, and also other people that we inevitably take from. When you step outside and you cross paths with your neighbor, you've taken on energy without
Mm-hmm.
even noticing it. And to those that are very sensitive, they'll be much more attuned. Hello, my empathic friends, which are a lot of the people that come into my spaces, right? And it's crazy to believe this, but the way I see it is really this empowered care for self is really this, can I attune within and honor what my body needs so that it can heal itself. Because what we do, and I'll love to hear your perspective on this, is we're numbing with these easy fixes, the Band-Aid
Yeah.
fixes, the Tylenol, the Advil, the Band-Aid,
Mhm.
right? But that it's not, and yes, the body heals. You have the Band-Aid and maybe you put some ointment and you'll see it heals. And you're like, oh my gosh. But when we look at something deeper than just a physical symptom, oh, there's energy, right? It's something we can't touch, but it's something we can feel. And I don't know if you've felt this for patients coming in or clients or however you want to call them that perhaps have gone to traditional medicine and were left kind of with more question marks or answers that that felt kind of fluffy, like, oh, I don't know, but that they know innately that something's off,
Yeah.
you know?
I I completely understand you, and I think a lot of us experience that firsthand, and a lot of patients do experience that with the healthcare system. I do feel like kudos to medical doctors, like their initial, intent was to help people, and they're trying to help people the best they can. But you can't get down to what is really happening in the body or explaining all the pathophysiology and everything that is going on by sitting down with a patient for 5, 10 minutes. That's not going to happen, you know. And not everyone has the medical education to understand every nuance of what is going on within the body. So, yes, they are trying to do their best doing what they do best, but it is lacking that component of the body is interconnected. It's not one system, one symptom's happening, and that's it. It's interconnected. And also the component of, in order for a patient to take agency, they need to understand their health. But in order to understand their health, they need time to do so. So that's where I think us as naturopathic doctor complement that medicine really well, is that we have time with our patients. Like my first intakes are 1 hour 30, 1 hour 40. We talk about a lot of things. Let me tell you, like we go like over every possible symptoms throughout the body, every possible emotions. I do like both assessments from a Western perspective and a traditional Chinese medicine, which I love, by the way, because it looks as patterns within the body, not just Western diagnosis. But the most amazing thing is when you actively like help patients understand their own health, because that's where the true magic is. When they understand what's going on with their body, they connect the dots and they try to take an active role into changing things. So instead of, hey, you know what, take this pill for 3 months, 6 months, and we'll see if you feel better. Hey, what is going on in your body that's leading to that symptoms? What is happening? What is your body trying to communicate? Is it a specific pattern that is disconnected or imbalanced? And in that case, we will support that pattern. Or is it deeper than that? And we need to really work on the body to feel safe again, to feel connected again, to get out of that survival mode and into healing mode. Because those cannot coexist at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Even like from medical perspective, you have the sympathetic nervous system and you have the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your fight or flight response, and that's your rest and digest response. Healing does not happen when you're fight or flight. What happens is that there is a lion, I need to run. That's what happens. But there's no lion in today's age. The lion is your work that, you have to drive to for 1 hour one way. Or the lion is your boss who is, pressuring you. The lion is a life that you don't like. The lion could be not taking enough time to eat proper food, sit down, enjoy your food. The lion could be not connecting to nature, going out for a walk. This is a beautiful weather. Like, I cannot understand someone not taking 10 minutes of their day and going out for a walk. It's such a healing process to connect with nature, but we have been so disconnected from it. Yes, I do believe conventional healthcare has its own place, but its place, it's mostly if someone, have severe symptoms and they need relief, great, medications are amazing for that. Someone has, an insane infection, the other, alternative is they might die. So yes, medications are amazing. Someone needs a surgery, get your surgery. Like, those are the times where the conventional healthcare system best work, because those are emergencies. But for prevention, for longevity, for addressing the root cause, that's where we come in.
Yeah. There's something important you mentioned, and I want to add to it. Um, a lot of listeners know about nervous system regulation. Again, it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, and it is important. Um, but I want to add a little something for us to feel into. The body doesn't necessarily heal just in the parasympathetic nervous system. And I'm going to share this as my experience and what I've also realized in others. Yes, there is something to say, of course, about I am always in fucking hypervigilant mode, in survival mode, and that's because of a deep fear in my DNA. And that has to be addressed. And of course, the body has to feel safe. To what? To feel. To feel what needs to be felt, to process emotions, to process the trauma that we all have from our childhood upbringing to some degree. Where I see the nervous system is maybe there's a misconception there, is that it's not bad to be in the sympathetic nervous system. There is something as a healthy triggering of
Yeah,
the fight, flight, or freeze. And oftentimes, if you are numb, you need to put yourself in the sympathetic nervous system just to kickstart energy circulation. So, you know, I use this as a beautiful tool for people to just feel what they need to feel in a healthy environment. You want to
yeah,
feel like you want to fucking escape? Run on the fucking spot. Or go out for a run, knowing that you're not running away from your emotions and your pain. You're letting the energy circulate. The integration and the most important is when you come back and sit in silence in that presence and actually allow truth to come into your heart. That's the alchemy. But we need the
mhm,
energy to be moved, especially if it's been suppressed for so long. That will result in numbness, which is, I think, the worst of all. At least if we can get some anger, punch some pillows, scream
yeah,
underwater, shake it out. My daily fucking practice is shaking and dancing because I know that it's part of the energy circulation. It's part of what keeps this channel clear,
yeah.
right? So that I can actually come to a place of grounded and centeredness and move through life from that place. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I have my moments, but they're less and less. And I catch myself more before they actually happen and manifest.
Mhm. Absolutely. I like what you said. Like, the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, is not bad. It's there to protect us. It was designed to, when it perceives danger, it says, we're in an emergency mode, let's all run.
Mhm.
And I like to give the example of the nervous system being, like a conductor of an orchestra. And then the organs in the body, it's different instruments.
Mm.
So, the heart, the gut, the hormones, the immune system, the muscles, everything is playing their own instrument, but it's in synergy. They don't operate in isolation. And then they constantly receive information from the conductor, the tempo, the intensity, how fast they need to go. Is there danger? Are we safe? But that's all the nervous system input, sending it to the other organs. So, yes, it's important that when there is danger, everything needs to run, needs to play louder, faster, the heart speed up, the breathing changes, muscle tone tense up. Everything is like run for your life. Okay. But the problem is not if there is danger, great. But if there isn't danger and the conductor is still sending the message that there is danger, that's when everything starts to disconnect. So the safety of that tempo that is sent to the other organs, it's not really regulated. It becomes dysregulated. The music, it's not really sounding great. The gut isn't digesting properly because for him there's danger. The digestion is not prioritized. These stress hormones increase, so other hormones that help us regulate down again, they're not prioritized. So the sleep becomes disrupted because you can't go into that safety of sleeping soundly. A lion might eat you, a bear might eat you. So that's what I call, you have to go back to that parasympathetic mode. You have to tune into that safety and help your nervous system know where there is real danger and when there isn't real danger. When it needs to kick in and tell your body, hey, get up, do what you gotta do. And when you need to actually rest and feel safe and recognize that you are safe enough to play that harmonious music. So it's not so much that sympathetic is bad or parasympathetic is bad. Sitting on both is not great. You have to oscillate between them. That's the
Mhm.
power of our nervous system, is to be able to change, tune up the tone, the intensity, the rhythm, up and down, up and down, up and down, depending on the situation. But if it's not able to tune that rhythm, you become either highly stressed or numb for everything.
Yes. Yes. And this speaks to our feminine and masculine energies. This speaks to polarity. This speaks to the great symphony that's being played out within us, and learning to attune to that and to give ourselves permission to be flexible, to
Mhm.
also know when it's time to be in my sympathetic nervous system, when it's time to take action, when it's time to speak up, when it's time to be out there, and when it's time to be more in here, when it's time to rest, when it's time to lean back, right? And noticing for you, where do you feel most comfortable? Holy fuck. Start there. Self-awareness. Number one, where do you feel most comfortable? In the doing, in the action, in the running? Or maybe you feel more comfortable in the sitting back, not doing anything and letting life kind of do its thing. And you're just maybe kind of just doing nothing, which again, none of these are bad, but too much of an extreme does become detrimental,
Mhm.
does become detrimental.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also to like to piggyback on that, I feel that when we get into either spectrum, often the reaction is, I need to fix what's broken.
Mm,
But sometimes healing is about creating enough safety for one body to actually oscillate between that spectrum. Remember what it already knows how to do. Our bodies and nervous system are designed to oscillate between both. They're designed to run when you need to run and rest when you need to rest. So it's really about leading the person from that survival mode to actual safety within their body. That's where their connection to their own body can happen instead of almost like surviving their own life or being a bystander of what's going on. Is to actually connect with your own body, your own nervous system, your own life, and not just wait on somebody to tell you, hey, there's, the magic pill or the magic supplement or the magic treatment or the it's truly about going back to that connection and embodiment and agency toward your body. You should be an active role in your own healing journey. No one should be coming and telling you, I can heal you.
Mm.
No, I can
And
give you the information, but it's your responsibility to heal.
yeah, and I'll take it a step further. This waiting on somebody to tell you to rest, so to be in your parasympathetic nervous system, and waiting for somebody to tell you to do that thing that, lights you up, to be in your sympathetic nervous system, or that part of you that wants to take action, that masculine energy, that drive, that I am enough to take that step. I can do this. So this is the very unconscious part, I think, that eats up at a lot of us. This, you mentioned this bystander. I love that. I love that terminology of like bystander of your life and spending your life waiting. Now, I'm not saying that there are not times when we are more inwards, and this is when cyclical wisdom comes in and starting to get attuned to the higher patterns, the macrocosmic patterns that are influencing our microcosm in our bodies, and learning to live in that cycle, knowing that there's time to take action, there's a time to integrate, to rest.
Mhm.
But realizing that, okay, all of these, like just getting super fucking honest with yourself, just realizing, am I a bystander in my life? Am I afraid to take action? Am I waiting for the paycheck, the perfect amount of money, the retirement to actually start living? Or am I actually fully embodied and living in every moment and every day according to my truth? And what is my truth? Is my truth out there? What people are telling me? Because that's all a reflection of what I believe and what is in here. So this self-agency piece is really hard for a lot of people because it requires an honesty, it requires a reflection, it requires a remembrance that you actually have choice. You have a choice to believe what is possible for you. You have a choice to believe that you are able to heal, that your body can heal, that you can create your greatest, most fulfilling life.
Yeah,
But it
absolutely.
requires that it requires that yes, the fundamental, the safety. Like I feel safe enough to say yes to this, and I feel safe enough to say no
Yeah.
to what's
I think
waiting.
that's the hardest part for a lot of women is to say no because
Mm,
we've grown even in different culture. I could see it in everyone. You grew up as a woman being taught to be a people pleaser.
yeah.
That's part of you being a caregiver, a loving mother, daughter, whatever, but also as a safety mechanism. Because if you are pleasing everyone, no one can hurt you. But that's not the reality. Sometimes pleasing everyone is actually hurting yourself. Fun fact, a lot of there's an increase in autoimmune conditions in women specifically because it was related to people pleasing. So when you don't honor your body, it sends a signal to your body that you don't like it, you're not okay with it. So it starts eating itself up in different ways. Um, that's not to say, I'm not shaming anyone for having autoimmune disease. There's a part of unknown of how our bodies work, but it is a piece of the puzzle that tells us a lot of why certain conditions are predominantly in women than men. Autoimmune conditions are one of them. So it speaks a lot to how women experience not honoring their own no, not honoring their own consent, not honoring what they want and want do, um, but also not honoring that when they are not okay, it's fine to ask for help. I do feel that also one missing component is that a lot of people look at themselves as survivors almost of their own bodies, like their bodies are betraying them all the time by giving them those symptoms and giving them those conditions. But if you think of it as your body is trying to protect you all the time with the input and the mechanism that it knows best, and the strategies that are there to help you cope with whatever you are going through or whatever you are putting your body through. So the body stops being a perpetrator of its own symptoms and starts being a baby that is crying for help, that is crying to be hugged, that is crying to be fed, that is crying to be loved.
Yeah. 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 And oh my God, I can take that topic to another branch and maybe for another time. The hunger, with a lot of diseases stemming from overeating, obesity, what are we actually hungry for?
Mm-hmm.
Love, connection, acceptance? How are we using food perhaps as a protection mechanism and as a way to just fill us up with something that we don't believe we deserve? But anyways, I'm going on a tangent, but there's all this to say there's so many ways that our body communicates to us, but that it goes so deep and that this beautiful body and our nervous system is protecting us, has learned to brace, to protect you. But if we reframe that, it actually wants to heal you. But we have to create that environment with the right support, the right people, the right input, as Omayma said, so that it can do its thing and that we could actually experience the love we deserve to experience and the love that we want to inevitably all give and share and create that life that we want to live in, that we want to live in,
Mm-hmm.
that we
Yeah.
want to engage with instead of feeling as though we always need to like hide behind this facade.
Hide or fight your way through it.
Yes, fight or flight. Depends on the person.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like I was that kind of person who always felt like I had to fight my way through things. And
mhm.
trust me, I did fight my way through most of the things in my life. But it is so rewarding to just sit down and acknowledge and tell yourself, hey, that's okay if I don't achieve this and this and this and this. I am alive. I'm breathing. I have a roof over my body. I have food on my table. I am doing something I love. I wake up every morning with the first thought in my head is being grateful for what I have. So
Mhm.
pause for a moment. Stop chasing. Go back to your body. You don't need to push healing. Healing sometimes happens from a state of that balance, body, mind, spirit. You're aligning, but it starts with the body. You align with the body. You don't align with the spirit or the mind. You align the spirit and the mind with the body. Because we are beings that are having a physical experience in this life. So embrace being in that body. Embrace that that body is yours from the moment you first breathe until you stop breathing. embrace that that body is responding to your mind and spirit input all the time. So you have that agency, you have that power over your body, and you have to have an active role in order to lead it toward healing, not push it through. And again, that goes back to when you take responsibility and agency, you don't feel like you have to fight your way through things or wait for them to happen for you.
Oh, beautiful. I feel as though we're gonna have to close now because I know this can go on forever, but we'll keep
Absolutely.
the thread going in another episode, perhaps. But before,
Absolutely.
yeah, and thank you so much for opening up, for sharing your own story and the wisdom that you house. And I always love to end with any last words that you like to share that feel alive for you right now, and also where people can find you and what you're up to.
Absolutely. I I think I just want to go back to something that is very deep, like deep rooted and heart centered for me, is that I don't think healing means becoming the person you were before you were hurt. It means becoming more deeply connected with the person you are now. And maybe the body is not something you need to conquer, it's simply something you need to come home to kind of unlock those wisdoms and trust that your body works for you and not against you. Um, for For me, so you can find me as Dr. Omayma Bouziane ND on both Instagram and Facebook. Um, I am working on my own website. It will be up in a couple of weeks. And I work at Bright Moon Wellness Clinic out of in Prince of Wales Drive in Ottawa, and from the same clinic virtually in Ontario. Um, you can also find me during community acupuncture. I hosted once a month on the first Saturday of the month. And starting in September, I will also start a women's circle centered around wisdoms for women, dancing to kind of move emotions and move one's discomfort in the body, and ending with sound healing.
Mm, beautiful. All the links will be in the show notes. So you can connect with Omaima and stay tuned for all of her various offerings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for having me. It was such a pleasure as usual. And then we can always have a second episode. I'm just saying,
For
anytime.
sure. For sure.